I'm 32 years old, and for the past few years I've been living alone in a small home deep in the countryside. It's peaceful here, quiet nights, long drives, and acres of open fields all around me. I used to think it was the perfect place to clear my head. But after what happened that night, I'll never look at the silence the same way again. It started on an ordinary Friday. I'd taken the day off work, stayed home, cleaned up the yard, and caught up on a few chores. Nothing unusual at all. By the time the sun went down, the crickets had started chirping and that typical country calm had settled over everything. I showered, made some tea, and by 9 o'clock I was upstairs in bed, watching random YouTube videos before falling asleep. I remember pausing the video for just a second when I thought I heard something. At first I figured it was nothing, the wind, maybe a raccoon, but after a few seconds I realized it was voices. Very faint, carried through the air. 2 people, maybe more. They were talking quietly, almost whispering, like they didn't want to be heard. That's when my brain woke up completely. Out here, people don't just walk by your house. My nearest neighbor is half a mile down the road. So the fact that I was hearing multiple people outside, close enough for their voices to reach my bedroom window, instantly felt wrong. I sat up in bed and listened harder. The voices kept going for a few seconds, then stopped. The sudden silence was even worse. It meant they'd heard me, or seen me move. A chill crawled through my chest as I slowly walked to the window and looked out. All I saw was darkness. The porch light barely reached the edge of the steps, and beyond that, it was pitch black. Still, that feeling, the heavy awareness that someone was staring up at me, hit so strong that I actually stepped back from the window. Maybe they were lost, I told myself. Maybe hunters or kids from town messing around. But if that were true, why would they go silent the second I moved? Why did it sound like they were getting closer just before that? I stood in the middle of the room, heart beating fast, debating whether to grab a flashlight or just pretend it was nothing. After a few minutes of hearing nothing else, curiosity won. I crept from room to room, peeking through each downstairs window. Nothing. No cars, no flashlights, no movement, just empty darkness swallowing my yard. That should have comforted me, but it didn't. It was the not knowing that felt unbearable, the thought of people somewhere out there, watching, waiting. 30 minutes passed like that. I finally decided to do something stupid, open the front door. I wanted to step outside, shine a light, and prove to myself there was no one around. I turned on the porch light and opened the door. The night air was cold. I could hear the wind moving through the grass and a few crickets off in the trees. But standing there, halfway out the door, I suddenly felt it, like eyes all over me. My instincts screamed that I wasn't alone. That I was being watched from the darkness just beyond the light's reach. That was enough for me. I stepped back inside, locked the door, and double-checked every other lock in the house. As soon as I did, the heavy feeling in my chest eased up a bit. Maybe it really had been just my imagination. I poured myself a glass of water and went back upstairs. Lying in bed, I kept telling myself to relax, that everything was fine, until finally my thoughts started to drift and I fell asleep. I don't know how long I was out, but I woke up to the loudest crash I've ever heard. My heart jumped straight into my throat. Something had shattered downstairs, or no, wait. It came from the hallway just outside my room. I jumped out of bed, ran to the door, and opened it. My hallway window, small, at the far end, was completely blown out. Shards of glass glittered across the floor, and a rock the size of a baseball lay in the middle of the mess. I froze. Then came the voices again. This time they weren't quiet. They were shouting, dozens of words I couldn't make out, echoing from the front of the house. And then the slamming started. Boom. The entire front door shook. Another hit, boom, followed by more yelling. There had to be at least 3 of them, maybe more. Between the impacts I could hear another window breaking somewhere downstairs. I stumbled back into my bedroom and locked the door, my hands shaking so badly I could barely dial 911. The operator answered immediately, calm and steady, asking for my address. I told her, whispering, while the front door finally gave out with a sickening crack. The sound of boots thudding on the hardwood floor below sent pure panic through my body. They were inside. I could hear them shouting to each other, laughing, like this was a game. The operator said officers were 5 minutes away. 5 minutes. That might as well have been an hour. I looked at the bedroom door and knew it wouldn't hold. There was only one place left to go. Because my house had sloped ceilings, my bedroom window opened onto part of the roof. It wasn't meant to be used that way, but I had no choice. I yanked it open, crawled out, and pulled the window shut behind me. The cold air hit me hard as I crouched low, crawling up toward the ridge of the roof. Below me, the men reached my bedroom door. They knocked first, almost playfully. Then one of them called out, "Hey, man, open up. We just want to talk." Another voice laughed, and then came the pounding. Each slam rattled through the walls. The door creaked, splintered, then burst open. I could hear them walking around my room, their boots crunching on glass. They were talking, frustrated now, searching. One of them said something like, "He's got to be here somewhere." For 30 eternal seconds they moved around, opening closets, drawers, whispering to each other. Then it went quiet. All I could hear was my own breathing and the wind brushing over the roof tiles. I didn't dare move. I just lay there, gripping the shingles until my fingers hurt. It felt like an hour, though it was probably only minutes, before the faint sound of police sirens reached me. The second they did, the men inside started yelling again, short, panicked orders, and then the heavy steps as they ran out the back door. A few minutes later, red and blue lights flickered across the fields. Officers cleared the house, found me on the roof, and helped me climb down. Only then did I realize how bad I was shaking. Inside, every room was trashed. Windows smashed, furniture flipped, the front door hanging from one hinge. But when we looked through everything, nothing valuable was gone. No electronics, no cash, nothing. That detail still haunts me more than the break-in itself. Because if they didn't come for my things, what were they after? Maybe it was random. Maybe they just wanted to scare someone. Or maybe, for whatever reason, it really was me they came for. I don't think I'll ever know. The police never found them. And even now, a year later, I still wake up some nights thinking I hear faint voices outside my window again. Talking quietly. Just out of sight. Like they're waiting for me to look.